Yay! It is week 9. We only have 1 week of class left, and this week we're looking at chapter 11. Chapter 11 is full of so much information, but it's actually full of information on a different kind of scenario faces. It is full on things about social networks, auctions, and portals. You might be going, well, what does social networks, auctions, and portals have to do with e-commerce? Well, one of the biggest things is they're wanting you to realize that businesses deal with social networks and communities, and that social networks are communities. And so not only or do we think about Facebook or some of those, there are a lot of other communities out there that we look at as we go through this chapter. We also are going to look at auctions. How have auctions changed from the beginning of eBay to now? What are some other auction sites out there? What are some of the original auction sites that were out there a long time ago, and how have they adapted? And then you're going to look at portals. And portals, your assignment kind of has you look at European portals, but just seeing what the difference is between portals and auction sites and that kind of thing. So some things that you really need to know in this chapter as we are ending up e-commerce and finishing this up. One is that social networks and online communities are huge for e-commerce. Even if you go to like Ford.com, they'll have a community where you can go in there and visit with other people that are Ford owners or have questions about things. You're always seeing that kind of reaction and those kind of things dealing with businesses. And a lot of our major companies, like the Ford, the Nikes, some of the food companies, some of those things like Chevy, they all have those little insight communities that are built into those places. We also need to remember that auctions are huge. There's a lot of tables like table 11.4 and table 11.8 all deal with different things with auctions. Some of them are cautions and frauds that can happen in auctions, and some are just basic types of auctions that can be out there. And one of my favorite things I like to use in class, for example, of frauds, is that you have to know where your people are that are auctioning this off. My brother tells about a couple that were in their 50s that came into the police department wanting to file a claim and get their money back and see what they can do criminally wise, because they had paid $7,000 for a brand new Harley Davidson, and they had wired the money to Europe because there was a guy in Europe that had it. And my brother just looked at him and said, well, once it's international, there's nothing really the city of Mitchell can do for you, when he was still working for the city of Mitchell as a detective. But then he said, on the flip side, why in the world did you think that anyone would sell a brand new Harley Davidson for $7,000 in Europe, let alone, anywhere else? So sometimes you just have to use your own mind on those and kind of know whether they could be a fraud or not and what could happen there. But they also look at consumer behavior and how now we just want to buy right now. We don't want to do the bidding back and forth or those kind of things. And so it kind of flips and crosses through that area. And what the effect is those two things have on businesses. And we're not looking at it on a personal side so much as we are on a business side, and not looking at it as how can we use that for advertising like we have a lot of times for businesses, but we're looking at it as what can we do to improve our business and get people talking about our business, and wanting them to come back to our business and give it to their friends and those kind of things too. So hopefully that will be kind of entertaining for you on that part and give you some good insight. Also portals, we know that portals were originally acted as a search engine. Today they operate as destination sites, kind of a place like a television network. They're attracting people that way, audiences, those kind of things. So hopefully you'll get a little insight in portals and how businesses could possibly use them also, as they are trying to build their customer base. All this wraps up into two major assignments that you have. One is called Online and Social Networks, and that basically is divided into 4 different assignments. Each little thing has you look at something, whether it's a social network or whether it is an auction, and just kind of reference and see what you find out there. One of them I know has you look at more of the business side social networks, things like LinkedIn. There's also LinkedIn for doctors, there's LinkedIn for engineers, there's all kind of different community websites out there, but LinkedIn is a really big professional one that is becoming very well known. If you're wanting to move up in the professional world or get jobs or things like that, that is something that you need to businesses are looking at, not only from their business side and their employee side, but also to hire new employees and those kind of things. Megan Menzel, our HR person here, is very adamant that we all should have LinkedIn, and says that pretty soon in a few years that will be our resume. They will just go to LinkedIn, and the nice thing about LinkedIn is that people who know you can, who you might not have as references, they can say, yes, you are very skilled in this area. You know, like my cousin, I could say that she was very skilled as an attorney. She said I was skilled in secondary education or higher education. So there's some of those things that you can do too that people who have worked with you that you normally wouldn't have as recommendations can kind of put a little insight into what they thought of you and what you did also. So the next one is European portals. It has you look at some European portals and kind of describe what you found there. So as we're closing up this year of e-commerce, this is kind of the side of how does businesses use that fun stuff? How can it be beneficial to businesses? We're talking about social networks, auctions, portals, and also how can you as an employee use that information too to help with businesses that are becoming more and more online. So this is our last week. Regular assignments. Next week we just have our semester tester project, and so hopefully you let me know if you have any questions, and let's have a great week and be able to enjoy a little more sunshine out there and just have a good summer. Talk to you later. Bye.